Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Today is Monday, 11/11, November 11th, 2024. Um, Veterans Day here in the US, Remembrance Day in the UK. Um, the timing feeling kind of ironic all the way around as we are arguing with our fellow citizens about uh, the fact that they voted for an authoritarian. Um, One thing that I would like to be very clear about, and I recall going through this before. It was not half. It's not half of the U.S. population, and it drives me crazy that people keep saying half the people wanted Trump. No, 22% of the U.S. population voted for Trump. Okay, 22%. 74 million people voted for Trump. We're just shy of 335 million people. If you do the math, which is like apparently not in fashion, where people want to go with their feels and not with science. Um, if you do the math, that's 22%. So that 22% has been popping up. I don't know about all of you, but in our social circles. And they all seem to have a very similar rhetoric, which I think this is what we have to face, is that there's so much online influence, so much, like the talk radio and all this kind of thing that these people get their tape recorded rhetoric that they're coming back to us with. And one of them is asking us to be kind. Can't we just be kind? Just because we differ politically, it's not worth ending a friendship over. And it's such a bizarre minimalization, but it's been this minimalizing all along, right? That people are saying, oh, that they don't think that Trump is really going to do all of those things that he has said he wants to do. I don't think he'll go that far. Um, it's very odd to me, and I do promise I won't spend the whole podcast talking about politics. I know I keep trying not to, but the politics will not end, people. And that's the thing is when people say, oh, well, it's just politics. It's like, no, no, no. These are our lives. This is how we live our lives. um, I have friends who are trans. I have friends who are gay. I have friends who are of color. I am a woman, and I'm very worried about the erosion of what they want to do to women's rights. And, yeah, I'm worried about it. But at the same time, I'm in a better place. A couple people said I sounded sad on Friday. I was. That was the first time I'd really tried to talk about how upset I was. Um, and I I distanced a lot of people in 2016, and you know, doing more now. I'm blocking very freely on social media. An amazing number of readers are coming to us and saying, "Oh, but I love your books." And can't you appreciate that I love your books? And I remember being very perplexed by this, probably around the 2016 election, when some of my readers who loved the original 12 Kingdoms trilogy would come to me and say that. So, 12 Kingdoms, let me just tell you, is about the three daughters of the High King Orson. And it's an overall arc. It's 10 years later, and I'm going to spoil it for you all now. Um, the overall arc is basically getting him off the throne. He's a tyrant. He's a despotic, mad tyrant. Does that sound familiar? And it was amazing to me how many people inserted their own political ideology into that, where they did not understand that Orson was Trump. They moved it around so it was something else. And so when I see people saying, like, with how can you read Throne of Glass? How can you read um, Iron Flame? How can you read Fourth Wing? I'm sorry, I should have like made my list, but how can you read those things and vote for authoritarianism? And it's people don't make those connections. That's part of the inserting themselves into the uh, position of being the good person, of being not the villain. So yeah, all these people out there saying, you know, oh well, can't we just be kind? You know, they want it to be okay that this is what they voted for, and it's not okay. It's just not. You voted for people to lose their livelihoods and possibly their lives. We don't know how bad it's going to get. Remembrance Day, Veterans Day, you know, this is all about World War II, folks. And we're supposed to be, you know, remember the whole never forget thing. We're supposed to be remembering uh, how, you know, World War II started very similarly to what's going on now. Uh, and I'm sure there must have been lots of people then saying, oh, well, it's not going to be that bad. Maybe not because they just come out of World War One. Anyway, it was kind of interesting because last weekend, my husband, his brother was visiting. I think I mentioned, and he's from the reddest of red states. Actually, Wyoming is like its own brand of red state. They just, I remember thinking it when I lived there. They just have their own kind of conservatism, which is at least doesn't try to control their neighbors as much. It is a live and let live kind of conservatism, but they also just don't like anything to change ever. And yeah, it's an interesting kind. There's a lot of LDS influence in Wyoming, especially on that western border near Idaho. And the friend that David's brother brought with him is LDS, though he kind of minimized it. Carrie said something to him about it, and when I said, "Oh, are you LDS?" being kind and accepting as I am, he said that he had grown up that way, which kind of made it sound like he wasn't, but then it made it clear that later some other things that he was pretty active, which isn't necessarily a strike in my book. Um, right now, I don't know. I'm just getting so I abhor all religions because of all of the social control that happens in the name of all religions. It's not about spirituality, it's about social control. So, at any rate, this guy, this LDS guy, said to David at one point when his brother was out of earshot, he said, "Your brother seems like the kind of guy who likes to have a woman tell him what to do." And David told me this later. And remember, this is like 2 days before the election, where it turns out that a whole lot of people did not vote for Kamala because they can't see a woman as president. So he says this to David, and David tells me about it later. And he's like, that David recognized that this was his opportunity for the secret handshake conversation, right? This was his opportunity to go, yeah, we don't want women telling us what to do. And he didn't say anything because I'm very blessed in David. Uh, he has never been that guy. And it's interesting because we've gotten pushback from other people on our relationship many times in the past because I am the voice of the relationship. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. David is not tremendously articulate. He's never been confident in his words. And he is a less forceful personality than I am in some ways, although he's what's the word? I almost want like the Chinese word for um, he has a lot of fortitude. He just doesn't he doesn't like to confront people, and he's very happy for me to be the voice of the relationship. And it's really kind of fascinating how many people interpret that to be that I am somehow oppressing him, that I am like not letting him speak, that I'm not letting him make decisions and so forth. And they don't seem to understand that we have this great synchronicity where Like I wouldn't say something if I thought he wanted it different, right? I know what he wants. Anyway, I'm probably rambling on a bit here, but it was very interesting, that he sort of got that secret handshake question, you know, and it was kind of are you the kind of guy who likes a woman telling him what to do? And, so now all of this stuff that's coming out with, that we knew was there, but now that it's, like that it drove so much of the Gen Z vote, um, this, men, I feel like putting it in air quotes because I feel like the guys listening to this, you are not these men. And I know we go into this whole thing like not all men and so forth, but um, I feel like what's really important for us right now is for those of us who agree, the 78% of us who did not vote for Trump for whatever reason. Like if you're a baby, I didn't do the demographics, but anyone who did not buy into his shit, uh, yeah, I feel like we need to be bonding together. I've been watching people on the left do as they do, tearing each other apart over who failed more and who's more harmed by this. I'm seeing a lot of that, where people are like, oh, but you can't complain because these are, the people that are really suffering now. And it's like, can't we all just agree on how devastated we are and that we need to work together and stop falling into this trap of fighting each other on stuff? So, guys, if you're out there listening to this, and I assume that you would have tapped out a long time ago if you did not agree. This whole, I don't know, it feels false. This whole, I don't want a woman telling me what to do. The whole, your body, my choice. That's like this desire for men to control women. Um, like I've always felt like I think I mentioned this on Friday, but I just think it's funny, like, these guys who have to eliminate 50% of the population. It's actually like 52, right? Is female identifying, that they have to like eliminate them from competition so that they can like try to achieve something. Um, it's like, yeah, all right, go ahead, try to control women. Um, a woman telling you what to do. It's like, well, maybe no one wants anybody telling them what to do. Isn't that an interesting implicit part of that question or observation? Like that there is going to be someone in charge. That's how these guys talk about the marriages too. It's like there can only be one head in the marriage. Only one person decides. And it's like, well, you could decide as a team. You could be in harmony and decide as a team and have a single decision. But also this idea that like somebody's got to be in charge. It's an autocratic um, worldview, isn't it? So I think, yeah, we're just going to have to fight. I don't think we wanted to. I know I didn't want to, but we're just going to have to. We're going to have to fight to hold on to every single right for ourselves and others that we can. And people are saying get through the next 2 years, get through the next 4 years. And I know a lot of people are afraid that we won't have the opportunity to vote again, that Trump will declare himself president for life, or that some of the people he's working with will go that way. And we still don't have to lie down and yield up all of our rights. So let's work together, be in this together. I will talk a little bit about writing. I mean, the last week I can't tell how much of it was me struggling emotionally with everything with the election and so forth. Um, I'm at 81,000 words on the draft of a Rose in the Mirror. It's so I did not get to. I was hoping by the end of last week to be at 88,000 words. So I'm a little, almost 7,000 shy of that. But I think I'm going to start over and revise from the beginning today. I kind of know how it's going to end, but it's kind of funny because I'm not sure. I have a 50-50 split on something. Like it could go one way or the other. Um, it'll be this person or that person. And kind of think I know which it is, but I also think I don't. This book is turning out to be, shockingly enough, a meditation on good and evil and whether such a thing exists. It's kind of an exploration of those gray areas. When is pursuing what you want taking away from someone else? When is it fair to pursue what you want? And when are you actually being a bad person? So I think, a lot of it, like last week, I was getting into that and feeling this post-election, and yeah, it was a little rough. So I think I'm going to start over from the beginning. Um, it is very rare for me. I was messaging this morning with my friend who's in Hong Kong. So it's kind of funny. We have this a little bit of overlap in the morning for me and evening for him when he's like home from work and hanging out, and I'm like putting on my makeup and getting ready, and we message back and forth. And he's been a real ray of sunshine in my life. My friends have been a ray of sunshine through all of this, and he has amusing things to say. Uh, as a, I don't want to say ex-American, he was born in Wisconsin or grew up in Wisconsin, but he's been in Hong Kong for a really long time. And it's funny because I said something about, you know, I don't know what it's like to live in an authoritarian society. And he's like, well, I do live in Hong Kong. It's like, oh, yeah. Um, so what was my point there? I know I had a point. Oh, I was telling him that I'm kind of, uh, I could tell you exactly what I said because it's kind of funny. Um, I said, today I begin revising this book again from the beginning. I've been going back and forth between thinking that it's brilliant and that it's a hot mess. No reason both can't be true, but I'm kind of afraid to start. And he said, I know the feeling most creative people would, I suspect. He said, it's clearly a brilliant hot mess, or a hot brilliant mess. Hot brilliant mess. He is a visual artist. We became friends because of theater. We were in Equus together in college, and we're good friends and lovers. That was kind of nice to reconnect with him. Uh, but yeah, so here I am, like getting back into this revision, and it's unusual for me to feel like I don't quite have the thread of this book. Is it unusual? Those of you who have been listening to me for a really long time, um, let me know if you think that I am. Maybe I've said this before. Uh, I think sometimes when I felt this way, I have gone back to revise from the beginning at a much earlier point in the book. So I think it's all there. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Um, one thing I was going to mention was a week ago Sunday, I oh no, it was Friday afternoon. God, time. So yeah, a week ago Friday, not this Friday, but the week before, I was drafting hard and I went over to Melinda's in the afternoon. I don't think I mentioned this already because it was still in my potential notes of things to mention. But I went to help her do the final upload to Kobo of her Carolingian series, which is now live. You should check it out. It's about battling superstition and the forces of religion and evil with science and rationality. So appropriate. The Carolingian is the name of the series. But so I was feeling very tired, very brain dead, just out of words. And I knew that there was probably something I could do. There was probably a key to unlock this scene of, it was like, I knew that my protagonist had a way to help this person. It was within her power to do it, but I wasn't sure what she needed to do that. And so I mentioned this to Melinda. I said, I feel like there's an easy answer here, and it's just like beyond my reach. And do you have any ideas? And she said, well, what about this? That's what I would do. And it was perfect. It was the absolute perfect key. So sometimes, like when we talk about what are, um, how do we work together? What does a beta reader do for you? What does a critique partner do for you? People ask me a lot what I do, and I don't always exchange work, but it's really nice to be at a certain point in your career where you are good enough at your craft, and the writers are good enough at it that you can condense it, that you can say, here is this small problem I'm attempting to solve. You don't have to go into the whole weeds of saying, well, okay, so the story starts with, that's always a bad sign. So I could tell her, I said, this is the scene, it's near the end. He has this problem. I know she can fix it, but I don't know how. And she thinks about it and she goes, oh, well, what about this? And then, it was like a 3-minute conversation. So thank you, Melinda. So on that note, I think I will go start revising this book. Wish me luck. Trying to retain my mental peace and clarity, or regain, and then retain. Um, I hope that you all are getting through. We're in this together. We're all still here. There's a lot of us. Um, you know, Meditations on good and evil. Good is caring about other people and working with other people and making even the small corner of the world that we're in a better place. So thank you for being here with me. And I will talk to you all on Friday. You all take care. Bye bye.